Tonya.
And I'm Rhonda.
And welcome back. Now, what we want to talk about is the segue to discipline in raising children. What were we talking about earlier, Rhonda?
We were talking about it's sort of like toxic relationships or toxicity,
But when it comes to raising kids, right? So I was talking about my neighbor, right? Well, I shouldn't say that. I was talking about someone. And I want y'all to tell me what you think of this. They scared of that squirrel.
He's just so bold. You all.
He looks like a puppy, okay?
Over here at Botanical Gardens in Atlanta.
He's a big one.
Oh.
But anyway, I have something I want to say. So one day, what would you do? What would you do?
Okay.
So I come home. When I come home off work, I drive up to my driveway. When I drive up to my driveway, there's always bicycles blocking me getting into my driveway. Okay? I either have to wait until the kids come outside before I can drive up to my driveway, or I have to wait until they run to move the bicycles out my driveway. Now, the house is right next to me where they can put their bicycles in their driveway, but it's always right in front of mine. Okay? So the same people, there's times when they clean their car, they have all the car doors open, everything, and all I hear is when they're leaving to go to work, when they're coming home from work, when they just outside is
What is that?
music.
Oh, okay.
Just loud music, right? So I'm saying, like, y'all getting annoying, okay? So I went and I asked, this is me, I went and I asked, can you have your children park their bicycles in your driveway so that I can get in my driveway when I come home? Well, yeah, and I said it just like that. I said, that was nice, Well, he didn't like that. He went off. He said, they're children. They're just children. You're talking about the children? No, I ain't talking about the children. I'm just saying, can the children put their bicycles in your driveway where they live? I don't understand. They're only children. What is he talking about? Then he said, why are you always complaining? I said, because you always annoying. If it's not the bicycles in the driveway, then when they playing around, they leaving water bottles in the yard. If not the water bottles, then it's riding bicycles and on my grass. I try to get my grass treated, cut, try to keep my lawn up and everything. Then if it's not that, here it is with adults with loud music, waking me up, or I can't go to sleep. Don't want to really say anything to them because you know it's going to be something. What do you do? What do you do?
Do you have an association?
We have an association. Y'all know we have an association. They don't do nothing. What they do? They say call the police. Call the police. They tell you call everybody but them. But pay us our money. Yeah, we have an association. Okay, let's get them out of the way because we ain't doing that. So what would you do?
Do you ever see the children?
Who?
Do you ever see the
I see the children.
Okay. I would not bribe, but I would kind of befriend the children.
Oh, yeah, they real
and
sweet
work
kids.
with the children and say, you know what? When you all put your bike in your yard, I like when you do that. And when you do it the next time and continue doing it for so many months, I got something special for you.
Okay.
What you all want? You want some ice pops or freeze pops or what you all want?
Okay. Now, suppose you know your neighbors don't want you saying anything to their
to the
kids.
children? Okay.
Don't want you saying anything.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you can't go to the neighbor, you can't go to the children, then I don't know what to do.
Then you gotta go somewhere, because it's either me not getting any sleep. And when I told him about the music playing loud, then he said, "But it's my music. I have the right to play my music." I say, "I have the right to not hear your music." You understand? Because when you're in an association, you're part of a community. You know, it's not just you. And that's what I was saying earlier about people who exalt themselves. You exalt yourself to the point no one else matters. Okay? That's why I'm saying, like, that's toxic to me. Because no one else in the community matters but him. That's toxic. Now, he would be the one to say, "Oh, get toxic people out your life." But you are toxic. You see what I'm saying? But he can't see that, because he see that I'm the problem. I'm not the problem. Now, he's sitting here telling my son, well, I was looking at a house. I wish you would move, but anyway, I'm looking at a house in Kennesaw. I said, "Kennesaw gonna run you out of there. You are not going over there playing your music loud and talking about my rights, my rights." It's everybody's rights out there. You understand? So no one, he said, "I can't play my music. Why can't I play my?" No one said you couldn't play your music. It's just disturbing to me. But his thing is that children should be allowed to just run rapid and play and play and play. And I'm saying that the kids need structure. You understand? So what's the difference between, having the discipline and being abusive? Because he looks at it like I'm being mean to the kids, like I'm being abusive to the kids, like they shouldn't have fun. No, they should have fun, but not to the point where it's disturbing somebody else. You have to show them discipline. What you think, Rhonda?
Well, everybody's different as far as like raising their children, but abuse is something that's repetitive. Something that happens over time, and it's usually physical, emotional, neglect, like not feeding them, things like that. But for him to say that you're abusing the children by going to him about the children, that's not he
abusing their fun. Like, I'm not letting them have fun.
Well, that's not abuse, because they can have fun, but they can have fun on their side, because like he said, that's his children, his property, that's your property. You all have a property line. And if you want to be mean, you can do some things, but I'm sure you don't want to do that. I'm sure you don't.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I don't want to. But I want you to respect.
Right.
I want you to respect.
He's not really respecting you and your property, but he wants you to respect his property and his children.
Exactly.
So it's kind of one-sided.
It's one-sided. So, what do you think I should do? I mean, I don't want to call the police or anything, because we know what it's like nowadays. So I don't want, and then I don't want that friction between me and my neighbor.
And your neighbor, right?
Yeah. So, I don't know what to do. But let's go back to discipline and abuse. Nowadays, people say don't spank your kids because that's abuse. What you think, Ron?
Well, I dealt with a lot of that in the work setting I worked previously, and we always understood it, like if it was a marked left or if it was something that happened consistently, then that was considered abuse. But sometimes a parent may have, like, the child may have acted up and went home, and a parent may have disciplined them by providing them with a spanking or something like that and left a mark. And that's not necessarily abuse, but today the standards are totally different.
But do you think that spanking a child is abusive?
Some people would consider that abuse. But as far as like what you saying with the neighbor, that's not abuse. That's not abuse by telling them they can't play over here.
But what about spanking a child? Because that's the thing nowadays. If you spank a child, you abuse. A lot of people saying don't spank them.
The Bible says, "Spare the rod, spoil the child."
There you go.
And I'm gonna tell you one thing. I spank my children.
I spank mine too.
And when you handle it early on,
yes.
like mine, way before they were probably 6 years old, we handled all of everything we need to
Everything.
handle. Like they said, you learn everything you need to learn in kindergarten. They learned everything they need to learn by 6 years old, and I didn't have to. It was easy after that. I didn't have to discipline them, as far as spanking. But I did
Exactly.
spank.
I spank too, and like someone said before, you can raise a child to be an asset or a liability.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't raise your child to have some type of discipline, because you're gonna have to have discipline all through life, period.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to managing your money, when it comes to managing your weight, when it comes to managing your time, you gotta have discipline all through life. You can't just be willy-nilly and do like you want to, because it's not how life works. So they have to have some discipline. If there's no discipline, then there's gonna be some type of consequences.
But today's discipline, because a lot of people consider spanking abuse, but what they suggest is like doing things like, time out, taking things away. I'm just telling you what are some of the suggestions that they make, because, like I said, I worked in that setting for a while, and that to them was considered abuse. My children are way up in age now. So
well, I tell you what, when we were back in my day, when I was being raised, I got spankings. I'm pretty sure y'all ain't surprised by that, but I got spankings when I was growing up. And whatever I got a spanking for, trust me, I didn't do it again because I didn't want another spanking. But sitting here telling me, and a lot of parents, they take away stuff and they give it right back to them. You understand? So the child know they're going to get it back. If you take away the cell phone, the child know eventually they're going to get the cell phone back.
Well,
you take away a game, they know they're going to get it back. And then some of y'all say, I'm going to take away this, that, and the other, and you don't.
And still don't do it. It has to be followed through. It has to be consistent.
Right.
Whatever you do, it has to be consistent. But structure, children, they thrive on structure.
They do.
They look for structure.
Children love structure.
I tell you what, the children who, you ask your child which teacher they remember, and I bet they're going to remember that teacher.
Ooh, Lord.
I know the little leaves falling. They're going to remember that teacher who provided them with some form of structure. Not saying they had this, of course the teacher can't touch the children, but some form, they had structure in that classroom. They couldn't come in there and run that teacher over. And I can tell you that they respect that teacher.
They do respect that teacher, and they'll remember that teacher all their life.
All their life.
You know what I mean? And that structured teacher, it shows that you care too.
Right.
You don't want anything to happen in your classroom. When I say sit down, and the kids feel safer in a structured classroom.
They do.
Because you're gonna have some kids in there that's not gonna listen, trying to be bullied, whatever. But when I have a teacher that says sit down, they know that everybody, including bully, everybody, you're gonna sit down. You understand?
If it's a child acting up, the first thing they do is what? Look at their teacher to say, what are you gonna do about that? I know you're not gonna let that child do that. So
and a lot of times kids who are have issues at home, with an instructed classroom, they don't have issues with the teacher.
Right.
You understand? And so the child come to school, and the teacher's like, "No, this child's fine at home." And the parent be like, "Well, they like crazy. They're at home." And I've had some parents to do that. You understand? And they'll tell the child, "Oh, I'm gonna tell Miss Sevier on you. I'm gonna tell Miss Sevier on you." And this is on the weekends. This is on the weekends and everything, and that's fine, but you still need structure, and don't drop the ball, because you can drop the ball somewhere when raising your kids, and a lot of that is when you give your child any and everything they want. Am I right, Mom?
You can't give them everything.
You can't get everything.
We can't get everything we want. We're adults and we work. With society, that's not realistic in society.
It's not.
We have rules we have to follow. We can't just drive down the freeway 85 miles an hour and not
because
expect
it's
some
my car.
Right,
it's my car.
But we have consequences for that. You get
There's
a ticket, it could be an accident, whatever. Then your insurance, you got to deal with your insurance policy. It's just too much. And then because of that, we think, I better drive the speed.
Right. And the same thing with when we have kids in the classroom, we don't want to keep calling parents at work, telling them what their child is doing. If you handle it at home, trust me, it'll roll over to school. It'll roll over to school. Because I tell my kids, I'm not calling your mom. We're going to take care of this in class. So I'm not calling your mom. Your mom is at work. and she don't feel like being bothered with that, unless it's just something I have to call them for. But other than that, I gotta go to the restroom every 5 minutes. Guess what? You ain't going. You ain't going every 5 minutes. Cause see, you playing. And I know that by now. You understand?
And when I taught high school for some years, Tonya, and what I did, they had so many passes per semester.
Mm-hmm.
And I would write it down. You know, back then it was when we had the actual physical grade book. And I would write it down next to their name. And I would let them know, okay, you know you have 2. You only have 2 more, or whatever. I can't even remember how many I gave them. It's been so many years ago. But they knew they only had that many, you know, because even high school, middle school, you know, I taught both. They will do the same thing. So you have to have some type of guidelines or something in place, or they're going to keep going to the bathroom and like, wait a minute, the period's about over. Where's so-and-so? They still in the bathroom? You know, because you're teaching and you forget about the child sometimes. Not forget about them, but you're so engaged in your lesson. You're like, wait a minute. They've been gone a long time.
They've been gone for a long time. They don't went on A hall, B hall, C hall.
And for their safety and for their ability to learn, you have to keep it at a minimum. Because if they're going out of class all the time, then they're missing the lesson.
And not only that, but also, you know, saying that your kids are never wrong. I've had some parents come to me saying, well, my child don't lie. And they're 4 and 5. They don't tell the truth all the time either. Okay? And so, that's anybody. I've lied. Have you ever lied? Okay, well, what you acting like that for? We all lie.
Not too much, y'all. I don't lie too much.
Well, child, I have lied. And most people have lied. What I'm telling you is that people lie. Okay? Don't make it seem like
to
a
get
child.
out of trouble.
That's what
If
I'm
they
saying.
know they're in
Especially
trouble.
a child to get out of trouble.
I've seen it for so many years. So
don't come to the teacher telling the teacher that your child don't lie. Don't even make it seem like to your kids that everybody's wrong but you. You got to make your child responsible, okay? And say, you know, if you do this, hey, they are going to do this to you. You know, make sure that your child is, you know, doing what they're supposed to do. You understand what I'm saying?
So what do you think? Comment below, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
And
Tina Lifestyle.
Again, we're at the Botanical Gardens in Atlanta, Georgia. Beautiful day. Look at that sunlight, you all. It's just making us glow today.
Ooh, glow, glow, glow.